Welcome back. This is a continuation of my Lego MOC documentary series involving law enforcement. Previously, we had touched on my MOC of the LAPD, and today we're touching on the Lego City Police series. As we are in front of one of my other police stations, you see an array of Lego police cars. You see a Dodge Charger. There is the Lego Ford SUV. And at the very front, once we come back, is a snapshot of the Crown Victoria. The Crown Victoria is a longtime police cruiser used in the day. And it's not talked about as often, but it's still around. It's used by a lot of police departments that don't have the money to change out their vehicles. But the Crown Vic was the legendary police cruiser of its day. It had enough room to fit multiple people, multiple officers, and as a result, was the go-to police cruiser. Here we have a closer shot view of the cruiser, and as we look at it, it's a 360 turnaround, of which, as you can see, the doors are fully maneuverable and do open. We'll also show shortly the front hood lifting up and a glimpse of the engine block. And again, there's plenty of room to fit two officers in front and, if necessary, two people in back. I had mentioned briefly that the Crown Vics, for example, are still being used by the LAPD, but they use them in terms of transporting officers to like riot situations, and in case the riots get out of hand and they destroy the Crown Vics, they're okay with that. So a lot of them are stripped down to bare basics. Put enough officers, drive them to the riot scene, get them out. If the car gets flipped over, torched, destroyed, it's not the loss of, say, like a Ford SUV Interceptor or the Dodge Charger. The back trunk is open. You can see that there's room to put stuff in there. There's a couple posing platforms. But overall, you can see that unlike the Dodge Charger Interceptor, the Crown Vic has more than enough room to carry passengers in the back, including handcuffed defendants. I only have one Crown Vic in my entire police fleet. They aren't the easiest to build in the sense that you need a lot of materials, and again, it's something that you're not going to see as often as you used to. So their rarity is going to be indicative of that. We're now panning over at some point the police station in reference here. This is a reference to one of my Lego City police departments where they use actual policemen made by the Lego City series. Since 2003, roughly, the Lego policemen have been wearing one form or another of a blue uniform. Most of the time, they're light blue. There was a time that they had a dark blue, and then also back in 2012 when they had the Force Police series, which had actual brown, which mimicked a lot of police departments or sheriff's departments. But as we go and take a walk in, this is a department that has altogether about 15 Lego City police officers, either in the vehicles or in the station. Roughly, if you have 15 police officers, that's roughly serving a municipality of about 20,000 people. That uses a ratio of roughly about one officer for every 450 residents. Now, there are some cities that have bigger ratios. New York City, for example, has over 34,000 police, and so they have a ratio of one for every 250 people. Here in this example, though, this is like a small size police department, not as big as the major cities, but they make do. You have here a quick glimpse view of an office setting here where the officers are working on either their terminals or they're writing reports or just sitting there having a restful moment. And again, this is showing that this is a much simpler, starker, conventional viewpoint of a police station that, first of all, is only a one-level station and is a pretty straightforward view. As we're doing a side-by-side view where I have the walls taken down on some parts of this, This is a hallway that leads down to offices. This is the chief's office, by the way. Our chief is working very actively on his computer terminal. But again, it's a reflective view that this is a very simple, very stark building. The building is probably representing a building you might see have been built in like in the 1990s or 2000s, where there are some windows, but overall it's mostly brick. This is a quick view of an officer's window through her desk. I actually then take down part of the wall here to show another office with another officer working on his computer monitor. And again, offices officers get to work and do their thing. This is a quick glimpse of the detention facility or the jail in a more classic mode. There's two gentlemen here who are in custody. There's a sink, there's a toilet, and then there's a bunk. It's simple, it's spar. This is the open bar type system in terms of how the officers can keep track of people. So, again, not much privacy. But then again, that's because there's no security camera monitoring the prisoners. So the officers have to use the Mark I eyeball to keep an eye on the prisoners. There is a window so that the prisoners can look out, but they're barred. So unless they have high explosives or a drill, they're not getting out. We now have another quick view in terms of the outside of the jail cell, and it's the corridor that goes down to the chief's office. So this is sort of the opposite end of the station. The officers are wearing a mix of uniforms. Most of them are the typical light blue uniforms inspired by Dutch police back in the 2000s when the Lego creators were working on the Lego City series. Or at least that's what I always recall watching one time a documentary about the Lego company back in the day. Now, these officers are equipped with a variety of gun belts, with a variety of firearms, which you would not see with Lego police issued by Lego. So again, this is sort of where realism is added into the fantasy. This is a employee bathroom. There's some lockers for the officers to store personal gear, but it's a very simple simple and spare. There's a toilet, there's a sink, there's some shelving for officers to put their personal gear, but for the most part, that's about it. We're now doing a pan switch to out of that mid-size or smaller police station to a very small station. In this case, you have one police car assigned to this station. It's a Dodge Charger. The police number officers in this department are 7. So roughly, they serve a town of about 3,000 people. As a result, the building is much smaller. And as we come walking up to do the pan view of this station, it reflects much more bare in terms of resources. A fact that you only have like 7 officers reflects, the not necessarily simpler, but not as lavish appropriations you might have with the police department. In quick comparison, my Lego LAPD MOC station has 60 officers, and if it's 3 shifts, that's roughly 180 to 200 officers. So they're going to be servicing an area roughly about 75,000 people in the greater LA area. That's not representative, but that just gives you an example in comparison. So here I've taken off the front section to show that the front door, there's a locked glass door that you have to be buzzed in. There's windowed glass separating the officers and members of the public. This is a side shot from the side view where you can see where the officer who's talking to visitors through the armored glass. And you can see that this is a wider shot view of what's the interior. There's a desk for an officer doing paperwork. You can tell by the expression on her face, she's not really thrilled about that. So as a result, she'd rather be doing something else other than the paperwork. There are several other officers having more morning coffee or afternoon coffee or evening coffee. And if you can see tucked off, there's actually a gun locker in black with a combination key lock or combination lock to allow you access. This is a side view of those same officers having coffee. Again, Small windows, lots of walls. That's a quick view of the officers' uh, changing room and bathroom. Again, toilet, sink, and then there's shelving space for the officers to store their personal effects when they come in if they change coming in. Quick glance of the jail. Much smaller than the mid-sized station and considerably smaller than the LAPD. This is a small office that you see briefly. Officers can come in, have a few moments to compose themselves, write reports, a few minutes if they wanted some privacy, even though it's straight off of the front door leading outside of the station. As we come out, we'll ultimately do a quick overhead shot view of the station, but again, it reflects this is a small station, small services, not as sophisticated a facility. For the most part, again, station you might see from the 80s, 90s, lots of wall, not much glass. Definitely, you're entering a place that you don't want to be in. Whereas with the LAPD, they actually try to make it very colorful, light, and open to the public. This is the quick overhead view showing again the side office and showing the jail. This is the side view showing the officers' changing room. This is a side shot of the open area. Again, it's cramped. Not much room, but again, there's not that many officers. So for a 7-man department, you could see 2 officers on at any given time during the day. There's the gun locker off to the right that you can see, a couple shotguns, couple ARs, but nothing impressive. That is compared to the LAPD. Some computers are in here so that they're not completely in the 90s. But again, it is simple, straightforward, and again, it's using the officers that I do have available. In this case, all of these officers have the darker blue uniforms, and so they're again equipped with a variety of different gun belts, variety of small arms, reflecting again different departments. This is a quick shot back to my LAPD MOC. If you haven't seen it before, please come back to my channel and check out my 3-part series that I did on the LAPD MOC. This is in comparison, though, to what we've seen before in how this as a divisional station is much larger, bigger, and again encompasses a lot more officers and a lot more equipment and a lot more gear. So all in all, in comparison, this is, I think, the full view of my LAPD / Lego City police departments. I think the Lego City police departments are utilizing with what Lego's idea is, but giving it that level of reality as, gee, this is what real cops are going to have. At least real cops in, the United States today. As we're about to end, we see on top my revised LAPD helicopter, which you might have seen in some of my posts. The format has changed so that it represents a lot more either the HS-125 or the AS-350B2 used by the LAPD. So, having said that, thank you for this quick visit to my Lego City Police MOC. I wish you well. And I look forward to posting some new MOCs, and maybe if I get some chances, some Lego City or Lego Police action. Until then, I wish you well, and good Lego building. Goodbye.